Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 8th, 2026. So today is the day, y'all. Today is the day that we found out who the impaler was. And there were speculations going around on the interweb across all the apps, Twitter, TikTok. There were um, theories, and one of the theories were true. And it was one that I entertained too. But yeah, that was interesting because it just didn't make sense that it wouldn't be um who I thought could possibly be, because why all of a sudden are we bringing up this person? So I was not, it was actually kind of, for me, it was a little bit anticlimactic, but I digress. But anyway, we start this episode with Vanessa, and she's at Joey's penthouse, and she's, full of nervous energy. And so she calls Danny and says, I need a friend. Can you come over? And she was like, oh, do you want me to bring Nicole too? And she's like, no, I don't want to be judged. Girl, somebody ought to judge you. So Danny's like, okay, girl, I'm coming. She was like, I'm at Joey's penthouse. I'll send you the address. So she tells the guard that Danny is coming. The guard lets Danny in or whatever. And so Danny is talking to her, and she's telling Danny, how Joey is meeting with someone that's dangerous and she's scared and she blah blah blah. She's talking to her, and Danny was like, yeah, this is kind of crazy. Danny was like, I know that you and Joey love each other, but are these risks, are they worth it? Like, what about your kids? Danny is asking all the practical information because you're making decisions for Deanna and Donnell without their buy-in, and it's not fair. She just thinks everyone should follow her blindly over this cliff, and that's not fair to them. Everyone has agency over themselves, and um they should be able to see do what they see, all of the options available, and make their own decisions and determinations about where they're going to go, what they're going to be involved in. And you're not giving them that agency. And if anyone says anything to the contrary, then you ready to pop off at them. And she did it with Danny, because Danny is asking all of these plausible questions because Danny is your friend. And that's what I'm saying. Danny and Nicole have different approaches, but for the most part, I wouldn't say Nicole is judgmental of Vanessa, but Vanessa lives a very reckless life, and it's dangerous. And if I care about you, how can I not say something to you? If I care about you, why can't I address the elephant in the room? And that's what Danny did. And she asked Danny to leave. And Danny said, I did. Okay, I'm gonna leave, but can you let me know, that everybody is okay? And she's like, I will. But like, friendship with Vanessa is getting exhausting. And I don't know if Nicole or Danny are exhausted, but I am. Because you're intent on playing these Russian roulette games. Leave me out of it. Don't call me to cry about it. Leave me out of it. If you don't want to hear actual truth and love, then leave me out of it. Stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. Anyway, meanwhile, we have Joey and Randy. They're at the casino, and he opens the door, and the impaler comes in. And the impaler is none other than Joey Armstrong's sister, Heather. And at first, he kind of laughs it off because he doesn't believe she's the impaler, because he heard it was some kind of ruthless person, ruthless guy. And it can't be you. And she's like, yeah, it's me, bro. And she's like, I took after you and dad. And he was like, don't compare me to him and all of this. And she basically wants them to kind of join forces and work together. to which for now he declines. Joey is in a predicament now because the police are still looking for the impaler, and I doubt if he's going to let them get his sister. But is he willing to go down for his sister? I ride for my sister. I die for my sister. Is he really to do that? Willing to do that? That's a question. He goes back to the penthouse and he tells Vanessa a half truth. He tells her that Heather showed up, but he does not tell her that Heather is the impaler and that he tells her that he canceled and moved the meeting with the impaler. So, how much of a relationship can you have when one party in the relationship is always going to have to tell lies? It's just something that is with Joey in the business that he's in. He's going to have to tell you lies. Can you live with that? Meanwhile, Ted and Andre are talking, and they're talking about his relationship with Shanice, and he's talking about his relationship with Danny, and he's talking about how, they're still reeling for the death of Derek, and how he and Chelsea had a pretty deep conversation. Meanwhile, when Danny leaves Vanessa, she comes to the hospital because she wanted to see Nicole, but Nicole was in with a patient, so then she stops past Ted's office because I guess she knew Andre was with Ted. So she goes to see Andre to ask him if he will go to lunch with her. And so he does. But before he leaves, Ted wants to speak to Danny and he's like, is it going to be okay? If I bring Shanice to Martin's fundraiser. And she was like, no, everything good. Danny being Danny answers the question in a very Danny way. But she tells him, everything will be good. And so he's going to bring Shanice to the fundraiser. Meanwhile, Isaiah and Eva are at the house and he's leaving and he goes to see Jacob at where were they? They were at they were eating chicken fingers and french fries at Uptown. They were at Uptown, and so they're at Uptown and they're talking about everything that's going on. And he's basically saying that that Jacob needs help. And he's like, I'm not going to stop until I find out who the impaler is, blah, blah, blah. But Isaiah does see that his brother is struggling. So I'm glad that at least someone other than Naomi is seeing that that Jacob is really going through it. So while he's talking to Jacob, Leslie is at the country club and she overhears about the fundraiser and she goes to Eva because she wants Eva to take her as her plus one. And Eva's like, yuck, look, I'm already going. Isaiah's my plus one and whatever. And so she's like, oh, he don't want to go because, this ain't his kind of scene. Take me. And then it comes down to tell me one of Martin's policies and why you believe in it. And she don't know nothing. And she's still trying to convince her, but she says no. But then we see Leslie goes back to the event planner at the country club and kind of like tries to buy a ticket or whatever. I'm so sick of Leslie thinking she can get in and go everywhere, but it's to be expected and I gotta accept it, I guess. And then Isaiah comes back and, he tells she tells, Isaiah, her mom was trying to come and he's like, well, maybe it won't be that bad or whatever. Whatever. I don't know. Then we also see that Jacob still don't like Eva, and I like that because at least somebody other than Kat be holding her feet to the fire. Cause anyway, but yeah, that was Beyond the Gates for today. It was pretty decent. Like I said, the Impaler being Joey's sister was a little bit anticlimactic to me, but we move. But who is outside crying? But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow because the fundraiser starts tomorrow. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 9th, 2026. So we start this episode at the country club, and we have Martin, Smitty, Samantha, and Tyrell, and they're helping Martin pick out a tie because they're about to do their photo shoot before the fundraising because the kids are going to leave because they have to study because it's around finals time for them. So they got work to do. And then Tyrell is about to graduate, right? Yeah. So anyway, so they have, work to do. So they're going to take the photos and then they're going to leave. So they take their photos and they leave. And then we go to the Grand's house. They are getting dressed and getting ready to leave out to go to the fundraiser. And also, Victor Newman is about to touch down. So, Grand, he wants to go meet with Victor and, thank him for coming or whatever. So, they're getting ready. And then we have Naomi and Danny. They're at her house and they're dressed and they're ready to go. And it looks like, well, it doesn't look like that's actually what happened. So Naomi is waiting for Jacob to arrive so that they can go to the um the fundraiser together. And Danny is waiting for Andre because I guess he's coming back to get her because he comes back home in later on in the episode because he was there taking the photos of Martin and the kids. But he comes back to the house, I guess, to get Danny because be productive. We got to multitask here. I'll go here and take the photos and everything while you get dressed because you're gonna be a while. So while you get dressed, I'm gonna go take the photos of the people and then I'm gonna come back and get you and hopefully you will be ready by then. She was ready. So yeah, so then that's what was going on there. And then Jacob is at work and he is going crazy. He's like trying to beat on Ren because he wants Ren to give him some more information about the impaler. And he is tunnel vision. I'm going to find out, and I'm going to find out right now who the impaler is. It's kind of crazy. It's a lot crazy. Um, so um then we have his dad is trying to like tell him to calm down, but I'm glad, like I said, because he kind of like Naomi mentioned it to him, but Elon kind of like brushed it off. But then we saw that um who was it? His brother saw it yesterday. Isaiah saw it, and Naomi seeing, and I think Danny kind of saw it too. Excuse me, the brief exchange that they had during his commendation ceremony. Like he's not doing okay. And so I was glad that Elon got to see it. Maybe Elon will do something about it, but then he's a man, so maybe he won't because he doesn't seem to be able to rein Jacob in either. Then we have Joey and Vanessa. They're getting ready for the fundraiser as well, but he's kind of like staring off into space. He got a lot on his mind, and we all know that he's dealing with the fact that his sister is in fact the impaler and that he's seen her after all these years. A lot of information to take in. So she's like, asking him questions and they're talking. And then we have Jan and Mona. They're at Orphe Dean's and, Mona is doing a drive because they're trying to get some repairs done at her church. So she's, collecting donations for the church. So while they're down at Orphe Jeans collecting donations, Leslie comes in and she gives them a Fenmore bag, with a donation. And Mona is like, girl, because Mona don't mess with Leslie. And they exchange words. I mean, she tell her to like leave, take your gift and leave, but she don't take the gift. She just goes and sits at a table. Then Tyrell and Samantha show up because that's where they're going to study. They're going to get something to eat and study. So they come and they sit down to eat and study, but they, of course, speak to Mona and Jan first. And they're talking to them. And then they go sit at a table and they're talking because she's like, "What are you going to do when you go to college?" And he's talking about how he's going to try and change Jessica's mind, go to Banneker. And then she's like, "I kind of get the idea that Samantha, that Jessica want to explore her options." So then he kind of gets mad and snippy with her, and she's like, "Wait, I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm just trying to tell you maybe it's best to deal with it now than to get your heart broken later." Yeah, Tyrell, you can't be clingy because that ain't gonna work out too well in your favor. You might stand a chance if y'all both go your separate ways, or even if you were to try and maintain a long distance relationship. But being clingy, that ain't gonna work. I mean, the odds are against you. Like I said, y'all are high school, the first love, whatever. The odds are ever against you. But, being clingy, have you watched Forever on Netflix? I suggest you go watch that, Tyrell, and then bring it back in. Mm. But anyway, so then they Victor touches down and him and Vernon get in a limo and they're talking, and he's thanking Victor for coming, and he was like, yeah, he'll do anything for um Vernon. And then he sees Anita, and he um says that he came because he get to see her, and he's excited. And then they make introductions between Martin and Victor and Smitty and Victor, and um they exchange pleasant pleasantries. And right before the fundraiser is supposed to start. Meanwhile, Danny and Naomi are at the house and they're talking about Jacob and how he's not doing well. And, Naomi's like, "Where is he?" So she calls him and he's like, "Oh, I forgot. I'm not coming." And she's like, "You not coming?" So then Danny suggests that she bring Ashley because Ashley kind of needs to get out of her funk anyway. So, bring Ashley. And so Naomi leaves, and Andre comes back and he has his bag, I guess, with his camera equipment, and out falls a jewelry box. And so Danny picks it up and he was like, "Don't open that." And she looking at him like, "And why wouldn't I?" So then she was like, "Who is the mystery woman that's getting jewelry?" And he was like, "It's no mystery woman, it's you. I was trying to save it for Japan, but because I don't want you to spiral, go ahead and open it." And he is a ring inside with a red string, and he tells her this old Japanese proverb about the string and the pinky finger and all of this stuff. And he puts the ring on her finger. And I just love Andre and Danny. I just love them. I do. I do. So anyway, so then Jacob thinks that Ren gives him a lead. He gives him a name. So he is going to investigate the lead. And then also Leah is getting released from the hospital to the jail today. So he wants to oversee that transfer. So he leaves with the lead and he goes to see Joey. And he's like, "Yeah, I got a lead." And then he was like, Joey, he tells Joey a name, and then Joey was like, "Yeah, this man's big into trafficking, so I wouldn't, be surprised that he was involved in something like this." And Jacob is like, "Well, why didn't you tell my dad when he first asked about you?" And he was like, "I'm telling you because of Derek. But, any other information, you gonna owe me one." He's like, "I'll pay anything." Don't get into bed with Joey because it's not worth it. You're trying to avenge avenge um Derek's death, but this isn't going to avenge his death. Nothing is going to avenge his death. because at the end of the day, once you get through all of this, you're going to realize that Derek ain't coming back. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 10th, 2026. So, this episode takes place at the country club, and we pretty much almost have every single cast member on this show. At least all the contract players are here in this episode. We have Smitty, Martin, Vernon, Anita, Danny, Andre, Naomi, Ashley, Nicole, Bill, Haley, Kat, Tomas, Isaiah, Eva, Chelsea, Ted, Shanice, Vanessa, and Joey, and even Leslie. They're all there. And then, of course, we know we got Jack and Diane, Abby and Devon, and, people from Young and the Restless. So we have everybody there, and it is on and popping, and everyone. It's actually a nice affair. Everyone is dressed in their ball gowns and tuxedos, and it looks nice. It's like a nice event. Everyone's walking around and schmoozing, and it's just a nice event. When Joey and Vanessa arrive, they're like, "What is he doing here?" And they find out that he is Vanessa's plus one. But, being associated with Joey is kind of like political suicide. So they're like, you can't be seen pictured with Martin. And Vanessa irritates me because she wants to integrate Joey into this life, but it's never going to work because he still is who he is and does what he does. It's not about people looking down on Joey or whatever the case may be. It's actually about Joey being bad. He's a criminal. Like, I just can't with Vanessa. But she gonna keep pressing. So they're all there. Ashley is at home, and Naomi goes over there and convinces her to get dressed up to come to the fundraiser. And so she finally acquiesces and she gets dressed up and she goes. But when they get there, Naomi was like, "Let's go talk to my dad." And she was like, "I'm not ready to face people yet. Give me a minute." So she stayed out, and then Anastasia approaches her, and we have to go back into the land of Ashley grieving Derek again. But it's mighty funny for Anastasia, who likes to throw shots and make comments, because she makes a comment about it being nice that Vanessa let her the help and her offspring come to the fundraiser, even though that's not how Ashley got there. But she makes a comment about that. For someone who looks down their nose at people, she should keep her ear to the streets of the people that are less than her, because she knows all Ashley's business, and she like nastily threw that in her face. And what? I don't understand. I don't understand Anastasia. Like, what is, girl, who hurt you? Because something ain't right. Something in that milk ain't clean. Anyway, then we have Eva and Isaiah. They're there, and a reporter comes up to talk to her because she knows she's Martin's sister, and also because she know that it's scandalous how she came to be his sister. So she's trying to get the tea, and because Catherine knows how these reporters work, she kind of like swoops in to collect Eva. And this was actually, I don't even think this was Cat being Cat, even though I love Cat. I don't even think this was Cat being Cat. I think this was Cat actually trying to be helpful to Eva in this particular situation. And so she comes in and she swoops Eva out of the way. But then Eva takes it like, oh, you trying to say I can't handle myself and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, girl, get over it. Like, get over it. Like, Kat ain't even in the space no more where she's trying to, she knows who you is, who, excuse me, knows who you is. She knows who you are, and she knows what you're up to, but she's not going to keep allowing you to make her look crazy. So she's finally gotten through that. She's gotten past that, and she can be pleasant in your company. However, you're never going to be her sister. You're never going to be her friend. She is, she see you for who you are, but I don't have to scream it from the rafters every time. That's where Kat is with it. But Eva just does too much. Chelsea, she's walking around, she is smoozing, doing market research for Chelsea Cat. It's just a really nice event. Like Vernon and Anita, they're talking to Jack and Diane. Um, um, Haley. Let's talk about Haley, girl. Haley is a mess. So Haley is talking to Jack and Diane's son. His name escapes me for the moment. And she is just talking to him, flirting it up with him or whatever. He goes away to get her another glass of champagne. And when he walks away, she slips her wedding band in her purse, child. Haley is funny to me. She always on the lookout for another mark, I guess. I don't even know what to do with Haley. But anyway, so um back to Ashley. So she's upset and she storms off, and so Danny, goes after her and takes her up to the bridal suite. So she's up in the bridal suite and she's, talking to her, and then she calls Naomi and tells her to come up. So while Danny is going down trying to go down, um Martin is, giving his speech, and Andre is looking around for her. Bill is nowhere to be found. Everybody is, he's looking around because it's like thundering and everything. The storm is getting worse. So Martin's in the middle of giving his speech, and Shonda comes up and she whispers in Martin's ear. And then he says, okay, I want to say they're in Montgomery County, but I don't know that they are. They are Barrington County is where they are. They're under a tornado watch. So he says, go to the exterior halls. And so everyone starts, filing out into the halls or whatever, and the lights go out. So the lights go out. So, the people on the elevator are stuck on the elevator. Danny is stuck on the elevator with Bill. And I swear to Danielle Dupree Richardson, I swear, don't do this to me. But anyway, so Ashley and Naomi are still upstairs. Danny is stuck on the elevator with Bill, and everybody else is moving into the exterior halls. And while they're doing that, the tornado actually breaks through the country club. Like the roof is off, and yeah, things are getting blown around. Grand is right there. They're together. And I hope they are fine. But yeah, it's getting popping. This was pretty good. It was a pretty good episode. I liked how they set the scene and how everybody was going around rubbing elbows and everything. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, tomorrow is going to be on and popping. But yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 11th, 2026. So we start this episode back where we left off yesterday at the Fairmount Crest country club, and the tornado has hit the country club, and they're out of power. Everybody is everywhere, and it's kind of chaotic. So we have Eva and Catherine. They're stuck together in a room. Um, Eva pulled them into, and Kat was like, I don't want to be in here. But before they could get out, a pipe or something blew, and apparently Eva was uh, injured, and Kat, was trying to get out, but they're still stuck. And at one point, she starts coughing up blood, and Kat is like freaking out because someone's dying in front of her, or whatever the case may be. I don't think she's dying, but she's having a medical emergency, and is a lot. And so Kat is upset, and she's begging Eva not to die. Meanwhile, Vernon and Anita hunkered down behind the reception desk, and then Leslie came with them because Leslie is annoying that way. And so when the tornado is over and they all come out from, their places of shelter, um, Anita's ankle is her ankle is um like spring. So Leslie gets the first aid kit, and she's like, I will, wrap your ankle for you. And she's like, no, I'm all right. Because that's exactly what my reaction would have been. It would have been like, nah, I'm good. But she lets her do it, and then she starts telling a story about how she couldn't afford to take her daughter to the doctor, so she had to get creative and learn to do these things for herself. Because Anita's like, oh, she did a good job, wrapping my ankle. Y'all are not humanizing Leslie to me. She will never be humanized to me. I'm never going to be a Leslie fan or Eva fan for that matter. I don't care if she was being like a normal human being today or if Eva is hurt. Sorry. Sorry. So then we have um Haley. Haley is stuck in a room with Kyle, and they are in there. She's kissing, and she finally tells him that she's married, and then they're in there having a dance party. It was kind of crazy because I'm like, Haley, what are you doing, girl? What exactly are you doing? And so then we have Ashley and Naomi. They get downstairs with everybody, and so they're looking for Martin, Kat, Danny, and um, no one can find them. Nicole is hysterical on and off. Ted is like keeps looking for Nicole, keeps trying to like visually make sure like she's okay. It's weird because I'm picking up on all of this, and I'm like, is anybody else seeing this? Like Ted is not really focused on Shanice. He is more focused on um Nicole. And then at some point, somebody asked Nicole, "Have you seen Kat?" And she was like, "Hopefully she's okay." Tell me you don't like Kat without telling me you don't like Kat. Nicole is so weird to me when it comes to that girl. But then when they find Martin, he was actually under the tree in the ballroom. When they find him and they get the tree off him and she sees him laying there, she gets completely hysterical and emotional because it's her son. I'm like, girl, you just said hopefully Kat is okay. Is she? Are y'all sure that she was like the miracle baby, much wanted? Because it's not giving that by either of her parents, but not by Ted or by Nicole. I'm sorry, it just doesn't give that. But anyway, so um, then we have that stupid Danny and because I'm mad at Danny because she, first of all, she just had a lovely exchange with her husband right before they came to the fundraiser. He gave her a gift, he told her the sentimental reason behind the gift, and then you're in the elevator kissing Bill, and you're going to get caught because you don't press all the buttons on the elevator gonna open, and Andre don't deserve. Meanwhile, speaking of Andre, Andre is hurt. I just can't. I just can't. I can't do this. I can't. I'm Danielle. You were just in tears, hysterical about how you allowed Bill to treat you, and only for you to turn around and end up in his arms. Yes, I knew it was coming because it's a soap and it's always coming. But dang, Danny, I wanted better for you. I did not want this. I'm so mad. Like Andre is hurt and he's worried sick about you because he hasn't heard from or seen his wife, and you are in the elevator with Bill. Meanwhile, Chelsea is running around. She's trying to be helpful with, making sure that everyone's okay and getting everyone's whereabouts, as is Naomi and Ashley. They're doing triage and helping. Everybody's doing something, and at one point Leslie goes up to Anita and she's like, "Am I reaping what I sow?" And Anita is being Anita and gracious and says, "God doesn't work like that." And she's right, he doesn't work like that, but you do reap what you sow. He does tell us that in the word. He does teach us that you will reap what you sow. No, he's not a vengeful God, but you will reap what you sow and you deserve. And I hope, I'm just going to be quiet and say what I hope after we get the information on whether or not what I hope is actually coming to fruition. So put a pin in that, TBE. But yeah, it was a tornado. Oh, and then Devon's wife is, standing in the middle of the ballroom, and the chandelier is falling from the ceiling on her head. All the people was trying to do was to come to Fairmount Crest to support Martin in his campaign, and all heck has broke loose via a tornado. I'm pretty sure Martin's going to get reelected now because he was hurt um in the tornado, and the election for the primary is tomorrow. So he's definitely going to be in the ballot for November, but he's getting selected in the primary because he got hurt. And if you watch Scandal, a big catastrophe like that can tip the scales of an election. Think Sally Langston when somebody blew up the church during that funeral. Yeah, But yeah, that was Beyond the Gates today. It was pretty good. I'm just very disappointed in Danny. I don't know how else to put it. I really don't want Andre to have to get hurt because he doesn't deserve that. All he did was love her. Hey guys, let's talk Beyond the Gates for today, June 12th, 2026. So we start this episode, well, this episode takes place at the country club because it's still the aftermath of the tornado. So we start this episode, with everybody still looking for Kat, Eva, Haley. Well, no one's really looking for Haley, but they're looking for Kyle. And, it's still a lot going on. So in the beginning, we see them in the ballroom. So yesterday, we remember that Abby was standing under the chandelier that was falling. And today we see that, when Diane screams out about the chandelier falling, Joey moves into action and jumps and pushes Abby out of the way. So she actually didn't get hit with the chandelier. And so that was good. And then I'm just so disappointed in Danny. It's like clouding my judgment. I can't even think straight. So anyway, Haley is in the closet and they actually get free. They're like the first to get free from the closet because the first responders start to arrive and they're there to help and get people free. And so Naomi and Jacob see each other, and he's asking about the family and everything, and she tells them who's missing and who's accounted for or whatever. So Haley gets freed, and when she gets freed, Anita is walking down the hallway and she sees Haley with Kyle, and she sees Haley for exactly who she is. She was like, "Your husband is missing." She's like, "Oh my God, Bill is missing." Anita is funny because she was not playing the radio. She was like, "You might want to know that your husband is missing," and she went into her damsel in distress vibe real quick. Haley knows she ain't. So then she goes to look for Bill, and Anita stays behind, and she tells Kyle, yeah, she's a viper, a no good viper. And when you get back to Genoa City, you'll be thankful that you're far away from her. And he thinks it's funny, but you just don't even know. Yeah. So anyway, meanwhile, Danny and Bill was kissing in the elevator or whatever, and then Um, did they just kiss? I don't know what happened in the elevator exactly, but Danny feels upset when the doors open and she's like, "You go that way, I go this way." And then she goes and she finds Chelsea first. She sees Chelsea first, and she's like, "Where's your sister?" And she said, "Naomi is fine." And then she finds out Andre is hurt and she feels horrible. And I said to my friend, I said, she just ought to feel bad. She should, because he goes, "Baby, I was praying for you the whole entire time. I didn't know where you were." And it's just so sick. I'm so disappointed in Danny. I don't even have words. I told her, I said, disappointed is definitely what I am in Danny, but I don't have the words to adequately express how disappointed I am in her. Because why would you do that, Danny? You didn't have to. He's not that irresistible that you can't control yourself. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Meanwhile, Isaiah has found Kat and Eva, and she's like, hurry up. Eva needs medical attention. So he goes back, and, the paramedics is there, and they are able to get to him and Kat and Eva. But Eva is very much in bad condition. And um, because she's in bad condition, they're going to take her to the hospital. And Leslie was like, y'all were trapped together and you look like that and she looks like this. First of all, Eva pulled them in there, not Kat. And yeah, Kat got, and she got hurt. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, yeah, that's what had happened. Like, I don't know what you want me to say, but whatever. And so Kat is hysterical and she's trying to explain, what happened. She finally is able to get it out to her dad. And so then she goes in the ballroom and she finds her mom and her cousins and her brother. And she also finds Tomas and she tells Tomas about what happened. And, everybody is still up in arms. But, the roads are clear now and they're able to leave and go and get medical attention or go home. So Nicole is decompressing and she's sitting on the sofa with Chelsea, and they're talking about how they could have been in danger or whatever, and they're just talking like this is the first time you can breathe since all of this had happened. Previously, like I said, the roles were over, and Danny is going to take Andre to the hospital, and she is talking to Chelsea, and Chelsea's like, well, when you go to the hospital, because the phones are still wonky, can you check on Madison for me? Danny is feeling it, and she's feeling very bad about what she has done, but it's such a thing as too little too late, and it is too little too late for you to feel bad now, because I don't care. You can put me on an elevator with my ex in a tense situation. I don't think I'm going to be all over him. But not think, I know I'm not. It's just not going to happen. I have control over me. I'm not an animal. I can control how I react. So I don't have an excuse for Danny. Like, I love me some Danny bad, but I don't have anything to say that could absolve or excuse her behavior, because it was completely unnecessary. Um and so Tomas was trying to take um, Kat away, but Kat is like, I don't want to go to Grants and I don't want to go back to your place. I want to go to the hospital. So she wants to go to the hospital, to make sure Eva's okay. But then meanwhile, Smitty is like, okay, Martin, your dad said you need to go get checked out. Martin's like, no, I'm just fine. I was just sitting down too long. I'm ready to go home. And so he walked right past Smitty and collapsed on the floor. Boy, you were hit in the head by a tree. Go to the hospital and get checked out. Next week is going to be pretty good too, because it's still more aftermath of the tornado, and I can't wait to see what happens, um especially with cats. They want Cat to test to be a donor for something. Cat doesn't want to do it, which is her well within her right, and I don't think it has anything to do with her not liking Eva. It's just that but I think it's going to come out that Ted is not Eva's father. And if we take it all the way back to season one, Leslie had Eva get Ted's DNA. If if Eva was Ted, even if Eva was Ted and Nicole's, and Leslie stole her, she wouldn't have needed to have stole the DNA and called in a favor. So